I've been dealing with hair loss for over 9 years and it took me 6 years to get started overcoming it. But after finally overcoming it and helping many other people do the same, here are the 5 mistakes that I made or that I see other people make every single day. The first one is to start early. If you notice hair loss, immediately start fighting it. And why do I say that? It's because if you ask anyone who is fighting hair loss or has overcome hair loss, the one thing they will all say, like the far majority of them, they will say that they wish they started earlier. And I also wish that too. If I did, I would have saved over 6 years of struggle. I would have just avoided that. And then I also would not have needed to spend over 10,000 euros trying to reverse the mistakes that I made. So please start early. If you notice it, do it now. Do not wait. Absolutely, please do not wait. Then keep it simple. The kind of hair loss you are suffering from likely has a few key ingredients that actually help overcome it or help manage it. And the issue is that when you put a post in a hair loss community, for example, and you ask people what routine they use against hair loss, they may share an entire list of things that they are doing against hair loss. But the difference is between the fundamentals and the supplementals. Like that is the key difference. Just remember that. Fundamentals, supplementals. Please make sure you start with the fundamentals first and then maybe add more in the future based on what you need. Do not immediately go into it, just follow an entire list of things that people are doing because it will likely not help you. It will just be an inconvenience. It will only waste your money. Keep it simple. Then, past results do not guarantee future results. For example, you look in the mirror and you see hair loss for the first time and you're like, well, I wonder how bad this will be in the future. So you look at your family on your father's side, on your mom's side, and you see like, well, most people in either side of the family have full heads of hair. So my hair loss will likely not be as bad. But the issue is that hair loss cannot be predicted based on how severe it is or on how fast it is, like or when it will end, for example. Maybe it will start fast, maybe it will start slow, maybe it will happen fast or slow, maybe it will happen in stages, or maybe it will happen continuously, or maybe you will only have it once and then be stable forever. Whatever happens, we cannot predict it. Make sure that you know that past results do not guarantee future results. If you have a problem, you need to treat that problem. You cannot go about it and think like, hey, I think my hair loss will not be as bad. Well, you may think that, but your genetics may not agree with that. And that is a very expensive gamble to take. Make sure you fight the right problem and do not assume that just because someone has or doesn't have hair loss means anything for you specifically. Then get the right environment. And so I have two sides to this. The first side is the bad environment. When I was first losing hair and I realized that I had a problem, I reached out to the people around me because I assumed they knew anything about hair loss. And so I was recommended caffeine shampoo and I was recommended a treatment, but I was actually getting the false information about the treatment. Doing all those things, they were in the right spirit, like the people wanted to help, but they just didn't know what they didn't know. And the longer I spent in hair loss communities trying to help other people, and more I realized that most people just don't know anything really. Please get the right environment, because if you get the wrong environment, you will go down the complete wrong path. You will work against yourself and you will literally not do anything to actually fight the key problem at hand. So get the right environment. So what can the right environment do for you? When I started actually overcoming hair loss, I had someone in my life who walked the path before me. Like they already completed their hair loss journey. They had a lot of regrowth and they were maintaining very well. When I first started, I could reach out to that person and ask about specific things like, hey, what does this treatment do? And how can I do this treatment? And how do I start? How do I deal with any issues that may happen? And so I could always reach out to that person, ask for information, and that person could explain something or just tell me like, hey, you're doing the right thing, just keep going. This is part of the process. Like that was so valuable to my journey. Like without the person, I likely would not have been able to complete it, you know. So please get the right environment, learn from people who either have been there before you or are right there with you. Like hair loss is a very lonely journey. Do not be alone. If you want to know how to overcome hair loss, go to folliclefixers.com or click the link below to join the community. Next, it's okay to not accept it. In these 6 years that I struggled with hair loss and did not fight it, actually, well, not effectively, I tried to accept it any way I could. I tried long hair, I tried short hair, shaving it, I tried wearing hats, different hairstyles, like standing out of the wind to hide my hair loss, just anything to try to accept it. But that did not help me at all. Like some people, when you tell them like, hey, hair loss is masculine, for example, you look more manly, some people listen to it and are like, oh yeah, that makes sense. It doesn't really bother me anymore. But that is not everyone. Some people, they realize that they do not like it. They know they want to fight it. They do not like hair loss at all. It affects them so much. All these strategies of trying to accept it and listening to people online like, hey, hair loss is masculine. Well, I tried shaving it. I do not look masculine with hair loss or like complete bald even. So it's okay to not accept it. It's okay to decide that you know your hair loss sucks, you do not like it, and you want to fight back. That's okay. Don't listen to people who are not in your shoes. Maybe you can learn from people in their shoes, but that doesn't mean that you have to follow it. I wish that I had more resistance against people who are like, oh, hair loss makes you more manly. Like, honestly, get out. No, I do not agree. Hair loss is a genetic disorder. That is the official termination for genetic hair loss. It is a disorder. Please realize that you can fight it. You can absolutely do it, but you will not do it if you only look at people who are incredibly successful despite their hair loss, because that is despite their hair loss. That is most often not because of hair loss. Those are the outliers. Remind yourself, it's okay to not accept it. It's okay to fight back. It's okay to not like it. And then the sixth bonus point is to apply the 4 steps in order. What are the 4 steps? So the 4 steps of overcoming hair loss are 1, evaluation, then there's maintenance, then there's regrowth, and finally hair transplant. And so the first one is evaluation. What kind of hair loss are you suffering from? For example, if a car is on fire, what kind of car is it? Is it a regular car, normal car, or is it a electric car? So based on what kind of problem you have, you also need different ways to combat it. You cannot start before knowing this. Just get tests done, go to a doctor, dermatologist, trichologist, whatever, whoever you can. Make sure to know what kind of hair loss you are suffering from. The next one is to maintain from that kind of hair loss. So in this case, male pattern baldness actually, please make sure you maintain before adding regrowth. What happens is that so many people, every day I see this, want to do both at the same time. The problem is that you may respond very well to the regrowth treatment, but you may not respond to the maintenance treatment. So what happens is that, oh, I know what kind of hair loss I am suffering from. I'm doing these 2 things, and then this will work, but only for a while. Eventually, this catches up. This is stronger than this. And so you hide the hair loss for a while, you are happy for a little while, and you're like, huh, that is weird. There's a little bit of thinness going on. I think I'm losing again. And what happens is that you may realize or may think that you do not respond to the regrowth treatment anymore. And then, because you never maintained, then because you stopped the regrowth, that extra regrowth, it almost immediately falls out, like within a month, it all falls out. But because you never maintained, your baseline actually went down, and then you are left with an absolute horror show. I do not wish this on anyone. So first, make sure you maintain. Then you can add regrowth, and then we can think about hair transplant. This one is optional. This one is optional. These are not. You have to evaluate. You have to maintain. And based on what you do next, you can choose that yourself. I went from evaluation to maintenance to a hair transplant to regrowth. But if you get a hair transplant, at least make sure you maintain. Otherwise, you will just chase the hair down and you will not overcome it. Like, please just maintain. If you cannot maintain, a hair transplant honestly may not be for you, or you need to do something else to maintain. Like, there are so many options to doing this, so many steps to doing this, and yeah, those are the four steps.